Today, we are diving into an absolute classic, a book that has pretty much shaped how we think about human interaction for almost 100 years. Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. We're going to break it all down to 3 timeless secrets that, honestly, you can start using the second this is over. You know, it's kind of crazy to think that a book written way back in 1936, right in the middle of the Great Depression, is still a massive bestseller. But its core promise? It's as powerful today as it ever was, giving you the tools to master the art of dealing with people in every single part of your life.
Okay, so to get us started, I want you to just look at this number on the screen, 85%. What in the world do you think that represents? Just take a guess. This one statistic was so important to Carnegie, it became the entire reason he wrote the book.
And there it is. Research from the Carnegie Foundation found something that's, well, pretty staggering. 85% of your financial success doesn't come from what you know, your technical skills, but from what Carnegie called human engineering. Now, this isn't about manipulating people, not at all. It's the science of getting along with them, your ability to lead, to get your ideas across, and to get people excited. These are the soft skills that get you hard results. Nailing this stuff isn't just a nice little bonus, it's a total game changer.
So that leads to the big question, right? If these skills are that important, how do we actually get good at them? Well, Carnegie boiled it all down to a set of core principles. And today, we're going to focus on the first 3, the absolute foundation for handling people effectively.
All right, let's jump into our first principle. And Carnegie gave it this brilliant, memorable name. If you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. It's just a perfect metaphor, and he kicks it off with the story of one of New York's most wanted criminals.
Okay, so picture this. It's May 7th, 1931. A cop killer named Two Gun Crowley, who had murdered a police officer in cold blood, is finally trapped in his apartment. 150 cops are laying siege to his hideout. The police commissioner himself called him one of the most dangerous criminals in the city's history. But how did Crowley see himself?
This is unbelievable. While the police are literally firing into his apartment, Crowley is writing a letter. And in it, he wrote these exact words: "Under my coat is a weary heart, but a kind one." He genuinely believed he wasn't a killer. He saw himself as a good person who was just defending himself.
And this story just perfectly highlights a fundamental truth about all of us. See, Crowley wasn't some weird exception. Al Capone, he thought of himself as a public benefactor. The warden of the infamous Sing Sing prison said that almost no inmates saw themselves as bad guys. The insight here is so powerful. 99 times out of 100, people do not criticize themselves, no matter how wrong they might be. It's like this powerful shield we use to protect our own ego.
And that's what brings us right to our first principle. Carnegie says criticism is just futile. And why? Because it instantly puts the other person on the defensive. It wounds their pride, it's a direct hit to their sense of importance, and the only thing that's going to come from it is resentment. If you kick the beehive, you're going to get stung every single time.
So, if criticism is totally off the table, what are you supposed to do instead? Well, that leads us right into the second principle, which is all about tapping into one of the most powerful and honestly, most overlooked drives in all of human nature.
The famous psychologist William James didn't call it a wish or a desire, he called it a craving. I mean, just let that word sink in. A craving. It's this deep, constant human hunger. We all have this need to feel important, to feel valued. And you know, while we usually get enough food and sleep, this deep hunger for self-esteem, it's often starving.
I mean, look at Charles Schwab. Andrew Carnegie paid him over $1 million a year, and this was back in the 1920s. That's insane money. So, was he some kind of steel-making genius? Schwab himself said no. He said he was paid all that money for his ability to deal with people. His secret? He said, "I am anxious to praise, but loath to find fault. The way to develop the best that in a person is by appreciation and encouragement."
But hold on. Carnegie makes a really important distinction here. This isn't about laying on some cheap, empty flattery. Flattery is insincere. It's selfish, and as he puts it, it comes from the teeth out. You can spot it a mile away, and so can everyone else. Real appreciation, on the other hand, is sincere, it's unselfish, it comes from the heart. It's about genuinely looking for and finding the good things in other people.
So there's our second rule. Satisfy that deep human craving, but do it with real integrity. Don't just hand out cheap praise. Instead,
actually stop and think about the other person's good points. When you give appreciation that's genuine and heartfelt, people will hold on to those words and remember them for the rest of their lives.
All right, let's get to our third and final principle for today, which Carnegie illustrates with, you guessed it, another fantastic metaphor: how to fish for people.
I mean, how perfect is this quote? It just says it all. Carnegie loved strawberries and cream, but when he went fishing, he didn't bait his hook with what he wanted. No, he used what the fish wanted. It sounds so incredibly obvious, right? But think about it for a second. How often do we do the exact opposite when we're dealing with people?
So the process is actually pretty simple, but that doesn't mean it's easy. First, you have to genuinely, truly try to see the situation from their point of view. Then, and only after you've done that, can you start talking in terms of what they want and show them how to get it. The only way on earth to influence anybody is to connect what you want with what they already want.
And that is principle number 3. Before you ever try to persuade someone to do something, just pause for a second and ask yourself, how can I make this person want to do it? It's like Henry Ford said, if there's any one secret of success, it lies in the ability to get the other person's point of view and see things from that person's angle as well as from your own.
Now, Carnegie is super clear that these principles aren't just some clever little tricks to get what you want. When you apply them sincerely, they become the foundation for a whole new way of life, a new way of interacting with every single person you meet.
So let's do a quick-fire recap of these 3 fundamental techniques. Number 1, don't kick the beehive. Remember that criticism is useless. Number 2, fill that deep human craving for importance with honest, sincere appreciation. And number 3, always bait the hook to suit the fish. See their point of view and get them excited about the idea.
Carnegie really meant for this to be an action book, not just something you read and forget. So the question I have for you is this: what one action are you going to take today to put just one of these principles into practice? How can you change just one conversation you have later today? That's where the real magic happens. Because mastering these ideas isn't about changing other people, it's about transforming yourself, one interaction at a time.